Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Arden, and today we're talking about the upcoming video games Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad. Kind of go over the differences between the two and give an explanation for these games, both of which were announced earlier this year, I guess as part of DC's fandom, if I'm putting together the timeline right of all of it. But as I was doing research into these, I found the whole concept of it quite interesting in terms of us getting a sense of these characters, or like them releasing two very similar games kind of back to back year after year from two different studios. It's an interesting idea, but there's also a lot of like details about it that kind of I think are worth talking about and worth devoting an entire video to. Like there's a whole explanation here. I'll get into it in a second as people in, but that's why we're here today. I think this will be a good explanation for a lot of people who are confused about what game was designed by Rocksteady, because it's not both, and the differences between the two story wise, as well as the similarities gameplay wise, both of which exist and both of which seem to be operating under the. We'll get into all that in a second. Adrian Benningfield, thanks for joining us along with everyone else watching live. We are kind of doing this a little differently than some of our other preview videos, and I'm going to just try and do it as a stream because realistically, I just have a little discussion to make about these different games, and if you guys have questions, I can answer while you're here, which will be fun. And, or if you have any comments or thoughts on all this, like we can have a bit of an ongoing discussion after. Now, I do have all this written out in front of me because there's enough here that I'd be able to remember it all to the credit. So let's start with Gotham Knights since that's coming out next year. Last time be able to say that correctly because those of you who are watching now, you know it's and watching after, Happy New Year. uh, and Gotham Knights is going to be coming out on Windows, PS4 and 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. So it will be part of the last generation. Suicide Squad will not. Suicide Squad is just coming out on Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Coming out in 2022, so it's pretty justified, and I think it might be very graphic intensive to represent that. Suicide Squad is also the one developed by Rocksteady, getting into what about it probably being the more graphic intensive game, while WB Games Montreal is doing Gotham Knights. WB Games Montreal has designed an Arkham 4. They made Arkham City Origins, which are Batman Arkham Origins. So said the title wrong, and that which is kind of a mixed thing. Certainly, that's viewed as the weakest of the Arkham games. Commonly, I think so. Like across critics and fandom, that's the general consensus, even if individuals might disagree, and that's fine. There's certainly value to it. And we've even kind of played it live, and I've talked a little bit about what I've liked and disliked of the game, although I did eventually just kind of get tired of it and we stopped streaming. And I don't intend to pick it up with me streaming, but we might have some fun with voiceover stuff. I do once in a while, eventually, one day. I don't intend to do that immediately anytime soon, but I do have plans one day. And this game kind of provides incentive for me to get on that and work through some of the existing Arkham games. They are going to follow up on it to a degree. That being said, Gotham Knights is completely separate from the Arkham series, unlike Arkham It does take place sometime after Batman and James Gordon have both apparently died, and in their wake, crime has sort of taken over Gotham City. The GCPD has become horribly corrupt again, with only a few good officers left. And Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood are all the 4 playable characters you get to play in as Gotham Knights. Either do it single player or as like a co-op 4-player thing. They'll be going up against existing Batman villains as well as the Court of the Owls, who haven't been introduced in the game. And it should be noted that because it is independent of Arkham, that means Joker's on the table. Every really Batman character is on the table. Just because Batman is apparently dead doesn't mean he'll show up in some form or another. Alfred is confirmed to be in the game as well as a supporting character, and Renee Montoya is going to be one of the police, the police captain and one of the few honest police officers left in the city that is obviously going to be an ally to the team, which is cool because she is an awesome character that often gets overlooked. So it's neat that with Batman and Gordon taking a back step, we can kind of focus on some other characters here, characters that we really haven't had a big blockbuster video game focus on. The question becomes, can WB Games do a good job with this? They have all the story on the table to have some fun with this. I am not thrilled at the idea of the Joker potentially being in this game because he could very well be alive. We don't know. But being able to play as Red Hood kind of makes that interesting. Red Hood isn't attached to the baggage of Arkham Knight with this, which is probably for the best. And the Robin you're playing as, by the way, is Tim Drake. I don't even know if Damien's here. Oh, you guys are seeing my Wikipedia notes. Here we go. There's images for you. That's funny. Adrian's saying, I'm wondering if Batman is dead and Gotham Knights God his enemies. Well, like I just said, it's perfectly possible. I'd prefer them to live up to what they're kind of advertising there. And Batman's gone. It's all about you kind of getting to learn to play as these characters instead. I would much rather that to be the as for Suicide Squad, that's a little bit different, but kind of the same dynamics. It's going to be in the universe of Arkham series, the Arkham series, I should say. And you're playing as the Suicide Squad, again with 4 members, and again, as far as I can tell, with the same single player or multiplayer options. This time it's Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, and King Shark. And there's a trailer out even where Brainiac is attacking Metropolis, and Suicide Squad is sent to investigate and kill the Alpha target, battle some Brainiac minions, and eventually run into Superman, who's controlled by Brainiac and is apparently the Alpha target. Because, those 4 characters stand a chance against Superman. But I digress. That's pretty fun, and it's interesting that Rocksteady is doing this one. I certainly have more faith in Rocksteady as a studio. But it is interesting. I'm curious to see how things go from here in terms of whether or not this game will, I guess, have a story kind of more interesting and in depth than what we got out of the Suicide Squad movie. I was being very diplomatic there, and I'm not sure why, but I guess that was my instinct. And I just I think those are fun characters. I did make a list of the characters I most wanted to see out of an Arkham game earlier this year. And I do have to say, I kind of excluded the 4 in Gotham Knights because I kind of assumed they were given, and they are given. So the idea of doing a whole separate game with Suicide Squad characters under the same engine and mechanics of the established Arkham lore sounds awesome to me. I'm quite excited about it, especially because those 4 characters will change up gameplay quite a bit in the Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn was one of my top 10 that I wanted to see. King Shark, Boomerang, and Deadshot weren't, but honestly, they're right in line with the kind of stuff I wanted. Creative, different characters that evoke unique gameplay from established characters like Batman and allies, all of whom are represented in the Suicide Squad there. And they're all villains who are maybe seeking redemption. We have that whole aspect of Suicide Squad, and they're showing off that they very much are going to cross over with other DC content like Superman. So I'm so curious to see what. Now, it would have been kind of fun for these games to have some sort of potential little crossover mentality to them, but I think them being independent allowed the developers, especially because so much can change in the course of making story-wise, the independence to kind of do what they want with each character. So they can kind of do. It's also very cool that this is the Harley of the Arkham series. we know quite a bit about her and her trajectory. I said in my like Arkham top 10 wanted characters that place following end of Arkham Knight. I maintain that. With the Joker dead, she kind of was lost and first like got revenge against Batman, but I think is in a good place to have a real shot at redemption. We kind of know Deadshot's story with his daughter from always got some sympathetic aspects to him. Captain Boomerangs and uh, King Shark are just fun characters to have around, and that will be pretty cool. uh, WD Kane says, I'd be okay with Red Hood having PTSD hallucinations with the Joker like how Bruce did at night. It fits better with Jason. That would be okay too. I don't, like I said, we don't really know what happened to the Joker. It could be a situation where they are kind of doing some parody with the overall status of the Arkham series, where both Batman and the Joker are gone, Gordon's gone. That kind of old guard are taking a back step, and a lot of the old villains might be gone too. In which case, that'd be kind of cool to have like us focus on some new enemies as well. That is what the Court of the Owls kind of represent when we get down to it. There's a lot of potentially there too if we're talking about new DC. We were talking about earlier whether or not Batman might appear in Gotham Knights. Well, I would argue it would be a lot more of a cool twist if Batman doesn't appear, but we get some sort of evil take on the character. And that, by the way, doesn't have to be like the Batman Who Laughs. That could be Lincoln March, who's suddenly a lot more of an interesting character now that Bruce Wayne is dead, right? Well, I guess if they pull a whole, well, yeah, they can do a lot of interesting things with that. Let's just leave it at, I don't know what the plan is, or also Hush. They could do some very cool things with Bruce Wayne being on, or we could just go nuts with it and actually have something like an evil Batman show up. Maybe the Batman Who Laughs is a little too much for a game that, you know, is about exploring the city and fighting criminals and stuff. But you don't have to go that far when you have characters like Owlman out, which would be cool as hell. Plus, you know, Kevin Conroy could probably still voice it. He's getting older, but he shouldn't be too old to do it, right? And that would be fun. ASJ saying, oh, so both games are in the same universe. No, that's not the case. I tried to make that as clear as possible. I was saying that it would be interesting if that were the case and they did stuff like that, but that isn't. Which does mean that you could have the characters in Gotham Knights show up in Suicide Squad with like a different continuity, but Nightwing might come along and confront them at some. He in a very different situation. He could be Batman in that story. Or Bruce Wayne could very well be alive in the story of the Arkham universe. He wasn't really ever confirmed dead at the end of Arkham Knight. A lot of options out there. As JJ says, or have Azrael be Batman. Well, that was certainly teased in Arkham Knight too, and that could be a thing in either game. Sure, I'll add you on PlayStation, John Sullivan. I'll do that after. I there are, you know, we've been playing through some single player for now Marvel stuff, but once I play through Avengers, like that, I think I have other multiplayer games where that would be useful to have viewers as friends. And when we're doing those kind of streams, I'll let add me and stuff. Have challengers and stuff in Mortal Kombat and the like, which would be fun. But we're not doing that right now. And yeah, maybe we'll leave things there. But I'm pretty optimistic about both games. Certainly, I'm more excited about Suicide Squad, even though it's hard to get excited about Suicide Squad after that kind of left me with a bad taste for adaptations. But we shouldn't. That team has a lot of potential in the future. James Gunn directing the next movie. Shouldn't discount them. Oh, there's more chat things. I skipped over some there. Johnny DC says Wonder Woman 84 kind of sucks. Yeah, we might do a separate review of that at some point or another. I'm not in a huge rush to see that at the moment because currently the only way to see it in Canada is not through HBO Max, but you have to pay $30 for it separate, and then you only have it for 48 hours. And I'm not doing that. That might work for a shared household or something like that where you have room. There ain't no roommate. I'm not paying for that. So, not $30. That's too much. uh, so it's gonna have to wait for now. But from what I've heard about the movie, oh boy, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Which is a shame because that's like the best trailer for a movie I've ever seen. One with like Blue Monday rampaging and Wonder Woman riding on lightning and all the cool stuff they showed in it had me very hopeful for that movie. And my excitement has deflated based on little things I've heard about it here and WD Kane also says, I hope Suicide Squad does have Harley have a reaction to Ivy's death in Arkham Knight. It angered me that was never brought up in the game. Oh, right. That's kind of just comes and goes in the story, doesn't it? Without much fanfare. Arkham Knight I liked, but has little issues with its story like that. And yeah, that would be good to follow up on. That would add to Harley's devastation. John Sullivan says Wonder Woman 84 is free if you have HBO Max. Disney won't be charging that extra 30 anymore either. The thing about that is Wonder Woman, HBO Max isn't available in Canada right now. Most of that stuff is through Crave, which I actually do have along with the HBO deal. But currently that's not happening. I think Crave will eventually get it, at which point I will review it because I have free access to it. But 30 seems like too, like they're trying to find the pricing for it. I agree with it being a little more. I am also okay with just waiting until theaters are safe. Shouldn't be much longer now. My city just got a huge dose of or amount of vaccine. As a frontline worker, I'll be getting it soon. Not right away, but soon. And I'm looking. It will add a lot of safety. I can go out and do things. I am willing to go to a movie theater. I don't know what the plan is for those, but I'll pay like a movie theater ticket price to go that way. And hopefully all that can get running soon. Although we're in lockdown right now, so. Oh boy. And that's not ending just because the vaccine's going to take a while before, stuff like that can end. But I'll be safe. And I feel for you guys who aren't frontline workers, but we need it right away because we've been in danger for a long time. I had to be in self-isolation not too long ago. I was not feeling well. I had to be tested, but I did not have coronavirus, so not to worry. Cough or something, but not playing around. If I had those symptoms, so I could not work for that time, and I could not go anywhere. And that happened around Christmas, by the way, but it's not like we had family plans. We're not smart like Australia. um, Adrian Benningfield says, I am fine waiting for Blu-ray theaters are nasty before the pandemic. Yeah, that is an experience I don't share. I don't know if there's a difference between American chains, but generally, like our theaters were pretty clean beforehand. You would occasionally get the sticky floor, but by and large, they'd. I would hope now they would keep them very clean. But I'm not stepping foot in a theater before I was vaccinated. Let's put it that way, and it will be a while because you do need two. I think they're like 3 cards, so that. uh, WD Kane says, I'm enjoying HBO Max. I just wish HBO would put more work setting it up. Or WB would put more work setting it up. It doesn't have Adam West Batman. Now, I can't speak for HBO Max, but I have seen a lot of their original content because I do get a crave. And I will second that endorsement. I liked The Flight Attendant, all of HBO's content from beforehand. I haven't rewatched Game of Thrones, but The experience overall has been positive. Flight attendant was a lot of fun. It's been good talking to you, WDK, and as I'm in the process of responding to your thing, I see that I have to go. Thanks for joining us, though. And yeah, I don't know what the pricing is like for you guys there. I kind of pay $10 for it on top of I already pay for Crave. I consider that a very reasonable, given what I get out of it. Good stuff. Their original content so far has been all pretty great. I'm kind of Lovecraft Country, Lovecraft Country. It's been amazing. Big fan of it. Um, John Sullivan says thanks for all the help, frontline help, man. Oh, no problem. You'd be surprised at how rare I get that in personal life and how often I get it from random celebrities and people podcasting who do little outs and you guys and stuff like that. I did kind of invite it there. Uh, it's worth explaining why I'm getting a vaccine super early because I'm talking like my first dose might be January 5th, which is great. I don't know the exact details. That's the latest news I've heard on them. Adrian says, Arden, from my understanding, you need 2 doses of it to be good. Yep. That was from 2 minutes ago, so that's why. John Sullivan says, Lovecraft Country is Dark Materials, that Android Wolf show. All great. I haven't seen his Dark Materials, but I have seen the Android Wolf show. Shoot, what's it called? I would have known the name if you hadn't queued that for me. Oh, Raised by Wolves. That's a weird show. The first 2 episodes are by what's his face, the guy who did Alien. Blanking on everything now. Anyways, whatever. Ridley Scott. That's. I'm gonna. I feel like I. Ridley Scott. Oh, okay, I was right. Second guess yourself and gotta go with your instinct. It's a interesting show. Got a lot of cool sci-fi things going on, but I felt it was like worth watching. Even very quirky and kind of reminded me of a lot of modern sci-fi shows. They're a little short on answers and very like floaty and surreal, but not the proper surreal. I'm working my way through now for some reason, and that's like still abstract content. Yeah, but Lovecraft Country is great. Strong stuff, and so was the flight attendant. Kelly Cuoco does that. She also voices Harley Quinn in that animated show, which hopefully will be making its way over to HBO Max if it hasn't already. I don't think that's included in. Adrian says, you mentioned Crave. It has one of my favorite shows, Letterkenny. I haven't really seen cause to get into. Uh, Heard good things. There's a lot of streaming out there. Like I said, for some reason, I've decided to rewatch a 1990 show uh, just so I can work my way up to the 2017 show. So I don't know why I'm doing that. Well, I know why, because it's dense and complicated once, and revisiting the original show has helped me figure some stuff out, but that's a whole other conversation. John Sullivan says, oh, the Watchmen show is amazing too. Yeah, that was before HBO Max, but that was amazing. A lot of people don't like it, but I think they're wrong. It's certainly David Lindelof's like strongest. Sevia, thanks for joining us. Although that being said, we have been talking about HBO for a while now, so I think we'll leave things there because, like I said, I might do a different review. I'm doing well, and you can go back and watch the whole stream for like more details and stuff. It's good to see you, but like we're 24 minutes in. I think that's a good content, but thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully, I can squeeze in another stream or two today, which is awesome. So I think it's good to stop it there for that reason. We'll see you guys next time here on Comic Island.